Hey everyone, so this week we are going to be writing our teaching philosophies, and I openly admit that this is not an easy task. I think any kind of task that asks you to kind of look inward and think about your own values and beliefs can be difficult. But it is important that we examine our own values and beliefs in regards to teaching, and then also examine our biases, right, and challenging how we see the world. So we're doing this assignment initially at the beginning of class to see how do our values and beliefs get reflected in the classroom. The idea that we will return to these and revise them later on. So let's see what I am talking about. I provided you with something called Curriculum Ideologies Inventory. I think sometimes when we are asked to do things like write teaching philosophies, it can be difficult if you don't have the language or the theory to back it up. And this is an excellent resource for gaining tools that you can use to write your philosophy statement. So if you are anything like me, you tend to not read directions and then quickly jump into anything. This is why I am really bad at building furniture. So I wanted to walk through this just to make sure you guys do it correctly. So you will rate the following 4 statements from 1, which is the statement you like the most, to 4, which is one you like the least. So you can see I got that wrong on part 2. So I ranked all my statements, part 1 through 6, and this is the part where you'll need to carefully read directions. I highly recommend printing this for your own use if you are able to. If not, you can create your own graph. So what you need to do is transfer your scores to this section here. So for example, it was for part 1 I scored myself 1, 3, 4, 2. So exactly the way it looked there, I wrote it. So exactly the way it looked on part 1, 1, 3, 4, 2, I wrote it under part 1, 1, 3, 4, 2. Then what it's asking you to do is to add circles for all of, so to graph circles. So for example, C1. So you can see C1, I drew a circle. D3, I drew a circle. A4, I drew a circle, and so on and so forth. Alright, so after I have all my circles drawn, I read the directions and it tells me that basically if you have circles in the top 2 rows for any section, like scholar, academic, learner, centered, social reconstruction, or social efficiency, because for example, whoops, sorry, pardon the hand, whoa, alright, well I'm not going to edit that out. Anyways, so for example, I have most of the top, well actually all of the top row in learner-centered filled out, so that means that my ideology leans toward learner-centered, and then followed by social reconstruction. And I actually went in and colored the ones that were in the top 2 rows so that I just could visually see that better. So to interpret these results, you have your introduction to the curriculum ideologies. So again, my highest were, let's say my highest was learner-centered, so I would go and read through the article and read about the different ideologies. But then there's a specific section for the learner-centered ideology. And this is where I'd read through and think of the language that would fit me the most. And this is language that I can use when I write my teaching philosophy. So for example, However, people are stimulated to grow and construct meaning as a result of interacting with their physical, intellectual, and social environments. Learning is thus considered a function of the interaction between a person and his or her environment. So when I'm writing my teaching philosophy, I can talk about how my students interact with their environment in the classroom, and how they interact with other people, and I can make that part of my teaching philosophy. There is also a nice graph that sums things up. And these again are words that you can use to help guide your teaching philosophy, because I know sometimes in writing things about yourself you can get lost in, I don't know what to write, I don't know how to word this. So these are just some examples along with other examples that I posted on Learn for you guys. All right, so thank you. And before we leave here is Noj. As you can see, she has been much help for this activity. Hey Noj. Whoa. Oh, that's a good. Thank you, Noj. It was a good one.